What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button. We are here for our Big Brother 23 episode 2 recap, as well as a bit of a review of what's been happening on the feeds all last night, day 5 inside the Big Brother house. And it's more of the same, more Frenchie madness. We saw in the episode a lot of that. Listen, as I'm talking to you right now, you may notice I'm wearing my headphones because I'm still listening to the live feeds. It is 4 a.m. inside the Big Brother house, and they are still up talking. They are trying to figure out what they're going to do going forward. But we'll get to all that in a bit. Let's start off with the episode. So there was a lot I liked in this episode, a lot I didn't like as well. First off, we started off with the episode with Frenchie talking about how he doesn't want to put up women. He refuses to nominate a woman. And we didn't see on the episode, but he did say on the feeds that he refused to nominate a person of color. Spoiler alert, doesn't happen. He also says, I'm getting a meathead out this week. A meathead is leaving. It is my goal. I don't like meatheads. I hate meatheads, which is pretty funny because literally a few minutes ago, he's talking about how he's like, man, I hate meatheads, and I'm sitting here with a bunch of meatheads on the couch on the feeds. Again, we'll get there. Eventually, though, he offers safety to pretty much everybody. Pretty much everybody. You get some safety. You get some safety. Everybody gets some safety. Frenchie was pretty much Oprah inside the Big Brother house, just offering safety to everyone. And after that, we got to the wild card competition, which we got some more information about how that works. We already knew that it was going to be the 3 teams that weren't safe for the week, right? That weren't part of the HOH's group. And only one of them could compete. What we didn't know, it was going to be very similar to the safety suite last season, where you didn't get to compete every single week. You only get one shot to compete in this competition. And once you take that shot, you're done. You can't compete in it anymore. So that means that Hannah, Christian, and Kai can no longer compete in the wild card competitions. You could pick one player from your team, and if you can't pick and you can't come to a unanimous consensus of who will actually play, it'll be a random draw to see who will actually play in that competition. I like it. I don't like it. We'll see how it continues to go. I do like the idea of forcing the HOH to make tougher decisions and not giving him the ability to just name whoever he wants. I would like to see maybe more of a hidden veto type of thing involved in Big Brother in the future. But this is also an interesting twist on the same old formula without being too big of a twist overall. Now, the competition itself, I thought was really interesting. I liked it. It was kind of a new competition that we haven't really seen before in Big Brother. And I always like innovation in competitions. So I have some pictures here we could show you. Pretty much, it was a room that was trashed. There were cans everywhere. There was all kinds of things that would make noise. Because the name of this competition was all about creating the least amount of noise possible while you found 4 items inside the room. Your cell phone, your keys, your wallet, and I forget actually what the other one was, but there was 4 items that you needed to find inside the room and make as little noise as possible. Microphones all around, and if you went over a certain decibel level, you would lose points. So it was kind of a timed competition with some penalties in there. Again, I thought this was really interesting. I liked it. Anytime there's something new and different in competitions, I'm all for it. Very much like last season with the veto competition where they had to stack those little mini cans with the tweezers. I like a big change and new interesting developments inside the Big Brother house. There was even a part where they had to crawl under a table and there were chips laying on the floor, which obviously is going to make a whole bunch of noise, beer bottles around that you could knock over. I just thought this was a really interesting competition, and I was glad to see it happen. Christian was your winner of this competition. We already kind of knew that from the live feeds, but what we didn't know was there was somebody else who was safe. Christian got to spin a wheel. It had 1, 2, or 3 on there, and depending on what number he got, that's how many people he could then say were also safe. So he ended up getting a 1. You can see from this picture, it was very, very close to being a 3, which would have meant his whole team was safe. But he ended up choosing Xavier to be safe as well. So Xavier cannot be put on the block along with Christian. He is safe this week. So we ended up getting to the nomination ceremony, and even before that, Frenchie had a little bit of a segment where he's like, I see everything. I know what's going on in this house. Do you, Frenchie? Do you? Because he starts saying his showman's radar's going off, and he thinks that Christian and Alyssa are in a showman's. They're not, as far as I know. They're not. And that is why Alyssa ended up on the block, because he couldn't go after Christian. He had to go after Alyssa. Even though Frenchie said he didn't want to put a girl on the block. Oh, and the other nominee, Kai, he didn't want to put a person of color on the block. So that was a lie. But look, Frenchie is doing his thing inside the house, and it's kind of a mess to watch, but it's so much fun to watch. I have a theory that there's 2 times that Big Brother are great: when there's really, really good players in the house, and when there's really, really bad players in the house. Those are the 2 times it is the most entertaining to watch Big Brother. And even when I say bad, it's weird because Frenchie has made such a mess of his HOH, but I still feel like he's in a good spot going forward, and we'll get to that in just a second. But that pretty much wraps up the episode. We got that nomination. Alyssa and Kai. Frenchie talked about how he had a dream. He had a dream that told him about a big fish. It was maybe one of the worst nomination speeches I've ever seen. Right up there with Judas, Victims Are We All, Big Fish. They're pretty much even in my book for worst nomination speeches that I've ever seen inside the Big Brother house. Even to the point, it was really great on the feeds. Not too much of a spoiler for anybody who doesn't want feed spoilers. Tiffany actually did a reenactment of his nomination speech, and the rest of the house guests were dying all around the table. They thought it was hilarious. Even at one point, Frenchie was laughing. He's like, if the pictures come up on the memory wall, I'm dying. I'm dead. Which they didn't end up doing, but you were so close, production. That would have been a great moment. But yeah, that really wraps up the episode, and we're about to get into live feed spoilers. So if you don't want the live feed spoilers, now is a good time to click off the video. But 3, 2, 1. Here is our, I messed up that countdown, but here is our alliance chart. You can also see how Derek is the veto winner. And like I said, I'm listening in on the live feeds right now because they are still talking about what they should do with this veto, whether Derek should use the veto, whether Derek should not use the veto. If he does use it, who's going to be the replacement nominee? It is 4:30 a.m. inside the Big Brother house, and they are still having this conversation out in the living room. Right now, it is Travis, Brent, Derek X, Frenchie, and Christian all sitting in the living room discussing whether or not Derek should use this or not. Now, originally, the target was going to be Travis. That seems to have changed. They're talking about if he is going to use the veto, Derek X, that is, that the only person that would not cause any ruffles and is the only one that Frenchie hasn't promised anything to would be Hannah, even though he has promised Hannah that she's safe this week. They were talking about maybe Sarah Beth going up as a replacement nominee, but again, I feel like that would just cause just as much trouble because he's also promised her that she wouldn't go up either. It's just very interesting to see how much Frenchie has flip-flopped around during this HOH. Here's the thing, though. As much as you might think, oh, well, Frenchie's got to be screwed now going into next week. He's the obvious target. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he's actually got himself in a really good spot. And I think there's a lot of different ways that he wouldn't go on the block. If, let's say, Whitney won, I don't think she puts him on the block. If Tiffany won, she doesn't put him on the block. Derek F, I don't think she puts him on the block. Yeah, there's just so many people that I just don't see putting Frenchie on the block if they win the HOH. Maybe the only ones who would might be Derek X. Even then, I don't know if he actually puts him on the block. Alyssa and Kai, because they got put on the block by him. But otherwise, I just don't see many people doing it. Everyone really has a good connection with them. For example, Derek F, right? Derek F, we saw in the episode, he and Frenchie really have a tight bond going so far, right? Like, they are talking game to each other. My only thing about Derek F is I don't 100% know where his loyalties lie. And I think right now it might be with Frenchie and the Butchers, because he has lied to Azah about there being a big alliance. So that's going to be interesting to see how that develops going forward as well. So, again, I'm listening in right now. Brent says if Derek X uses it on Kai, takes him down. And they're talking about how if they keep it the same, Alyssa's going home. It's so crazy to me. It's so crazy to me that they can't just make up their mind. It's week 1. It shouldn't be this hard. And one of the things with Frenchie is almost like whoever he talks to last, that's the direction he's going with his nominations. So I could literally see this still changing all the way up until the veto ceremony. Right beforehand, let's say Tiffany gets in his ear and says, this is what you should do with it, right? This is who you should renominate. And then he listens to Tiffany. I could see it going a million different ways. It's so messy. I love it. And I'm so excited. It's everything you want and more. Day 1 live feeds, week 1 live feeds are amazing. Never take them away from us, Big Brother. Always do a live move-in. This has been so great. It's been such a great first week of Big Brother, and we're not even done with the week yet. We're not even done. It's interesting to me as well. Like I said, Frenchie seems like he has a lot of good relationships around the house where I don't know what a lot of people would do if they won HOH. And that makes it fun. It makes it not predictable. It makes it much more chaotic, and I thrive in the chaos. Anybody who's Game of Thrones fans, you would know the Littlefinger quote, chaos is a ladder. And I love to see it climbed. But that really kind of wraps it up right now. I'm going to keep watching the feeds and see what ends up happening with this conversation. I want to get this video out to you guys, though, about episode 2 and what's been happening on the day earlier in the feeds. Because, again, it's just been changing every few minutes on who is the target, who's going to be going home, and what's actually going to be happening. Let me just run down here, see in my notes if there's anything else we missed from earlier. Because, again, these guys have been talking this whole time. They did the photo shoots earlier today as well, so I don't know when they're going to actually release those. But that happened earlier. Yeah, it's been an interesting day inside the Big Brother house with people trying to figure out whether or not Derek X should use this veto or not. So yeah, if you like this video, everybody hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think's going to be happening? Do you think Frenchie has completely dug a hole, or do you think he has the relationships moving forward to kind of keep himself out of trouble, at least for the next few weeks? Yeah, let me know. Also, let me just point out, don't be mean in the comments to anyone, right? This is a place where I want everybody to come together, have fun, talk about Big Brother, and there's no need for calling anybody names or anything like that. There was some of that in my last video, so let's not have that. This is a positive place, and everybody is welcome. Everybody's thoughts are welcome. Nobody deserves an apology from anyone for anything that's said. Yeah, go read some of the comments from last video. You'll see what I'm talking about. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.